And we're definitely going to still be dwelling on the FX market all through this week. The battle against currency speculators is still raging on as the CBN has vowed to clamp down on currency hoarders and speculators whose activities affect the appreciation of Naira against the US dollar. The Naira depreciated by 12.2% to 996 Naira 75 kobo to the dollar at the Nigerian Autonomous Foreign Exchange Market. Well, let's get a sense of what can be done in the short term to stabilize the market. Join us for this conversation as Mr. Samuel Showomi, Capital Market Executive at Iron Global Markets Limited, joining me right here in the studio. Good morning. Great to have you.
Good morning. It's my pleasure being here today.
Yeah, so I'm sure you heard the bakers, in that first event there that they had with the bakers and the millers, and they are lamenting the FX issue, and they're looking for support too. And definitely, we know bread is very important.
Yes.
The average, it's supposed to be the food for everyone. The poor and the poor normally eat bread. And we had that honeymoon season, last week. Everyone celebrated the Naira, gaining last week. But this week, it's not looking like that anymore. We're seeing weakness.
Yes.
Right now. Talk to me about what drove that strength last year. Was it just the expectations of $10 billion?
Oh, well, one thing we must understand is that the financial market is information-driven. And any kind of information that seeps into the market would definitely get a reaction from the market. And what we experienced in the last couple of days, the rally was as a result of the fact that the federal government decided to take a bold step towards stabilizing the FX market. Prior to the coming on board of this new administration, we were practicing a multiple exchange rate regime, whereby we have the official market and we have other, windows where people, bid for dollars to carry out their daily business activities. But coming in now, the new administration decided to go towards the path of unifying the exchange rate by floating the dollar, so as to allow the forces of demand and supply to determine the price. And to a very large extent, the new CBN governor didn't come up on board on time, and there was a gap. That period of gap, people have to take advantage because there was no clear-cut direction in terms of policy direction for the market. You understand? So that was what happened. But upon the institutionalization of the new CBN governor and the basic pronouncement he has made so far in terms of we are going to come up with policy reforms, we are going to come up with transparent policy, we are going to set the rules right. That stimulated the market. And not only that, they went ahead to clear the backlog of FX with the banks, you understand? So, and that injected a lot of liquidity into the market. And once there's liquidity in the market, you can expect that the Naira will definitely rally, because that simply means that as people are bidding to get for dollar, they are getting it. It is when they don't get it that the demand side will pile up. Why there's no supply, then you can expect that dollar will rally against the against the Naira. But once there is adequate supply, then Naira will rally. It will be vice versa. So that was what happened. So it was just because of what the government did in terms of clearing the backlog, and also coupled with the fact that Mr. President issued an executive order. You understand? Fine, we are still awaiting the order to be gazetted now, so that it can take, the adequate effect that we expect it to, to take in the market. So that also stimulated the market, because as soon as the president went ahead to come up with that executive order, and not only that, stating that they are looking at local issuance of dollar-denominated debt instruments targeted at local, investors, people who already have the dollar hoarding it. Government want to mop it up from them so that it can create a buffer for itself, then create liquidity in the market by sending it to the market through the CBN. So those are the kind of things that actually stimulated the market, and the Naira rallied against the dollar.
And talking about, rallying against the dollar, we know we have the DXY, index that tracks, the dollar against the basket of other top currencies. And in 2022, we saw that hit a new high last year. But that's come down, a lot this year.
Yeah.
How do the dynamics of the DXY, impact currencies like the Naira? Even though we have a lot of supply in the market, if the dollar is rallying, that's the DXY, would that also weaken the Naira, even if there's ample supply of dollars?
Well, to a very large extent, it may affect the value of the Naira. But if, as a country, we decide to do the right thing, we'll be able to edge ourselves. Now that we have floated our currency, you understand, we want to play, in a new terrain. We want to play to the level of international best practices. You understand? So let the forces of demand and supply determine. You understand? Let us hear from the market participants what they feel about your currency. So for us to be able to do that and achieve great defense of our currency, ample of policies has to come in place. A lot of strategy has to be put in place to make sure that we are, guarding against, a shortfall in the supply side of the market. Because if we cannot sustain the supply side of the market, then the Naira will continue to go down. But if we are able to supply, to sustain the supply side of the market by trying to increase our daily oil output. You understand? Try to come up with, policies that will stimulate export so that we can be earning more foreign currency. Try to come up with strategy like currency swap. Because if you look at the ample of what we do in our country, the larger proportion of what we import into Nigeria comes from a particular country, which is China. And sometimes ago, the previous administration came up with this idea of swap.
Yeah, we had that yuan Naira
yes,
swap.
You understand. What we need to do with respect to that is to look at what are the pitfalls here. Where did we get it wrong? Can we tidy up those aspects? Let us tidy it up. And, just set the rules right again and encourage our people to explore that window. It is with this combination of, strategies, monetary policy, alignment with fiscal policy that will be able to, actually defend the purchasing power.
And, we've heard the CBN talk about clamping down on speculators, clamping down on hoarders. And I'm wondering, how do you clamp down on speculators in the FX market? Is it, how does that really work?
Honestly speaking, we need to understand the dynamics of the market itself. When you are talking about speculators, they are not just ordinary people in the market. They are market participants. And the beauty of this FX market, or any financial market, so to speak, is that there is always a room for speculation. You understand? So it is part of the game. Speculating is part of the game. What is speculation? Simply means purchasing an asset with the hope that this asset value is going to increase in the short run. You understand? And that is what any reasonable, trader in the market would do. Only that they don't hold their position for a very long time. It is short. Some of them are just day traders. They won't even wait till the next day because they are skeptical of an information that could seep into the market the next day and could throw the market into another direction. So those are speculators. And that is what speculation does in the market.
So it doesn't mean speculators are the bad guys?
It doesn't mean they are the bad guys. They are market participants. Who are the key market participants in this FX market? Institutional investors, big corporations, commercial banks. They are participants in the market. They're individual traders. There are companies that have foreign exchange exposure, like companies that import intermediate good as their own input into their own production line. Definitely, you expect that such company will be edging its position in the FX market at one point or the other, at a particular point in time. So they will speculate, and their speculation will be based on the preponderance of availability of information at their disposal at a particular point in time. Take, for instance, if tomorrow federal government says, okay, we did a clearance of a backlog last week, we want to embark on another one next week. That's a sip of information into the market. Then you could see that people will begin to exit their position again.
So they'll go long this time?
They will go short. They'll begin to sell. This guy wants to flood.
That's going long on the Naira?
Yes, they'll now go long on the Naira. Because this guy is ready to flood the market again. There will be availability. Some of them will begin to exit. You understand? They will begin to exit their position. That, okay, this currency is going to lose value because there's going to be massive supply. So that is how it works. So although For me, what I would suggest to the government is that you are coming up with a policy reform, which is fantastic. You need to set the rules right, you understand? But you need to engage key market participants before you come up with those rules. The essence of this engagement...
Do the BDCs, are they participants?
Of course.
And they should be included?
Yes, you need to include... BDC is a license. Are they not licensed?
Right.
You understand? Everybody plays in the market.
So you know how we don't like to talk about the other market, the parallel market?
The parallel market. Whether we like it or not, they are part of the market. They are part of the market. What we should do is that what makes people to go and embrace them, to approach them, to patronize them. How can we stop that patronage and now direct it to this? Another thing is, these so-called aboki guys that sells dollars on the road, how can we now assist them to elevate them to the extent that we can now bring them to a well-regulated environment? Because whether we like it or not, these guys are also Nigerians, finding a way to earn a living. Some of them also, employ people. You understand? So it must be an holistic approach from the side of government in terms of engagement of key stakeholders in the market.
What about the hoarders? Any difference between the hoarders and speculators?
There isn't much difference. What are you hoarding? It's because you have taken a long position, you have stockpiled the currency, thinking that yes, because we don't have a policy direction yet, this price will continue to go up and will not sell. Even when people are bidding for it to buy, you will not say you are hoarding it to create artificial scarcity. The more scarce a currency is, the higher the value it gains because it's not available and people are looking for it. You understand? So that is just the mechanics, that's the dynamics. So what I will suggest to the government is to engage all stakeholders in this market, set the rules before them, let them understand the rule, then you now begin your implementation, which is the clamp down. Anybody that runs foul of the rules, then you can now clamp down on such people.
Right. We know it's a very volatile market.
Very.
Prices go up and down.
Yeah.
But what would you say is the true value of the Naira?
Well, the true value of any currency is a function of a lot of things, a lot of macroeconomic indices. Number one, it's a function of your balance of trade. Once your export is more than your import, definitely your local currency will be very strong. It means that you are earning more foreign currency than you are demanding for it. You understand? So for us to be able to visualize the true value of Naira, of course, in one sense, judging from the angle of the government, they have a particular fair value in mind, which is around 650 to 750, and that is what they are trying to achieve before the end of the year. It is fantastic to say, okay, let me set a benchmark for my currency. It is very, very good. It's doable. But you don't do it with just word of mouth. You have to do it with action, positive action that will support your supply side against the demand side. You look at policy alignment in terms of monetary policy and the fiscal policy, so that as you are looking at your monetary policy indicators, the fiscal policy indicators are also doing well. On the fiscal side of things, you'll be looking at your tax reforms, which the current administration is doing, so as to make business to have a kind of relief, so as to attract foreign investors to come into our economy to come and invest. That's okay. Now we have a very good tax environment. We have been able to do away with double taxation and all whatnot, and then we want you to come and do business with us. If you are doing that and you are keeping track with that, then you continue to keep track of the monetary policy as well. How are you regulating the supply of currency into the market? You understand? So all these things have to come together. Not that you'll be looking at one side and you'll be, while the other side is suffering. It is when we are able to harmonize this policy,
right,
at the same time get stakeholders involved in policy formulation, then we'll be able to stabilize.
Right. We do need that stability, and definitely I'm hoping for the day where the Naira is truly, truly, truly strong and sustainably, strong going forward. I want to thank you for your time, Mr. Samuel Showme, Capital Market Executive, Iron Global Markets Limited.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
All right, so Nigeria's first licensed specialized microinsurance company, Gozi Micro Insurance, has held the first edition of its annual conference to raise awareness and fast-track growth of the sector. The conference was centered on the theme, Microinsurance as a Catalyst for Socioeconomic Empowerment. Take a listen.